order. Let everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Gray?
Present.
Trustee Caprio?
Present.
Trustee Rogers?
Present.
Trustee Suisse?
Present.
Trustee Pazmino? Trustee Backel?
Present.
Mayor Evich?
Present. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the April 14, 2021 Village Board meeting?
I so motion.
A second.
Rogers? Discussion?
I do have something. I noticed this earlier today, and I printed these out, and I apologize I didn't pass them out earlier, but if you look at number 11, where it says motion to accept the bid, there's one mistake on there. If you look under the A's and Nays.
Yeah, I voted yes, and
Yeah, I had to correct it, so I have the corrected copy. If you guys want to see it, or I could just correct it, and you can approve with the correction, either way. I have copies for everyone if everyone wants to see it.
How is it? I'm fine with it.
Yes, fine.
Okay.
okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm going to abstain also.
Motion carries. Reports and communications from the mayor and other offices. Well, tonight, this is the final board for the report of our colleagues. Brock Apple, Carlo Gabriel, Keith Gray, and Sharon Sweets. These four people that are stepping down right now due to unfortunate loss. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you have done. All the four of you have done more than anyone else has done in the previous years. We've got the park out, we've got this building done, we have parks that we put in other subdivisions. It's just amazing how much we have done here. I've got lists of it, and that still doesn't even do justice. We've got 4 years of operating budget surpluses. We became debt-free from a loan we took out of a bond, which saved us $500,000 in interest due to prepayment. We've gotten millions of dollars for grants for capital projects in Heritage Park. Certificate of Achievement again for the excellence in financial authority. Thank you, John. We created Village's first corporate sponsorship program for events to save money and provide more events. We reduced the senior citizens rate for garbage pickup, and this list goes on and on and on, and I don't want to make everyone sleepy. So, like I said, the four trustees that are leaving after tonight, I've got 4 people that know exactly how this village has been run. It's been, it's hard to even explain how we got to the situation that we're in right now. The village board has done everything that's been asked for them. We haven't tried to hide anything. We are the second transparent in the state of Illinois. We've saved money on every single solitary thing this board has done. And with the things that we do have coming in, again, we've done everything in our power to make sure that things are right. We have 4 more coming in, and they got some big shoes to fill. And we're going to see where this takes us. Hopefully we all work together as a team. So with that, I honestly, I will miss each and every one of you. Because it's not just a trustee review, but this is almost like a family. We spend a hell of a lot of time together. These meetings can go long, the meetings can go short, the meetings can blow up, the meetings can go great. We haven't had really any blow up. So, I guess I could say I couldn't be prouder of the work that we have done. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank each and every one of you. And hopefully in 2 years, something comes up. You guys want to go back in? Let's run. Let's see what happens. But again, like I said, I want to thank all of you. So, thank you very much. Okay. Second, on April 18th, Commissioner DeVivo and I signed the closing documents to acquire the assets of the Homer Township Road District on April 19th. Commissioner DeVivo and staff recorded the documents with the Will County Recorder of Deeds, making the transfer official. Hours later, the appellate court denied a motion to prevent the transfer from taking place. The residents of Homer Glen now have their own public works department. Over this past week, the transition has moved full stream ahead. Road district employees have been hired as Homer Glen employees. And you will see the village logo on a public works truck in our letterhead. Your roads will be maintained by the same staff and equipment it's always been. And the village board will make sure it is run as efficiently and conservatively as we have with every other department. Over the coming weeks, the village will keep residents informed about the transition, including new contact information in the process. Long Run Creek, the village has hired Homer Tree Service to perform cleanup efforts along Long Run Creek, beginning with the area affected by the brush fires earlier this month. Representatives from Homer Tree met with the village staff today to plan access routes and target areas. Homer Tree will begin over the next 2 weeks. And we still have $50,000 set aside, and what they're quoting us right now for what they're going to be doing is a little over 6, so we should be in great condition. All right, we'll go to the trustees, and we'll start off with, how about we mix it up? Trustee Sweets.
Mayor, I just would like to make note for the record there, trustee Casmino showed up at 7:07.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting for the Environment Committee, I first want to say, in honor of Earth Day and Homer Glen's Cleanup Day, the Environment Committee will have a table set up at the Kite Festival on Sunday, May 2nd, from 11 until 4 p.m. Please stop by and pick up some cleaning supplies, such as gloves, bags, and trail maps. I want to thank the mayor and the fellow board members for their friendship and support during the past 8 years, which has been an amazing experience. I want to thank our incredible staff for doing what they do day in and day out. You are greatly appreciated, and I will miss each of you.
I have been on the Environment Committee since 2008. As a member, a chair, and a co-chair, I would like to thank our present and past committee members for all of their hard work on the various endeavors and projects we handled, which also made Homer Glen known worldwide as a dark sky community. Our members actually live by the village motto, community and nature in harmony. Ecology and economy need to work together hand in hand. I wish the new board well. It takes a lot of time, effort, preparation, and hard work to really do this job, and I hope each and every one of them understands this.
Yeah. In closing, there is a saying, if you want to test a person's true character, just give them some power. Thank you, Mayor.
I just wanted to remind people of the kite event this Saturday going on out here at Heritage Park. The weather looks like it's going to be ideal, windy and 79. So if you check out the village's Facebook page, In the website, you'll be able to see examples of some of the kites that they're going to have out there. They're going to have a lot of different special events. Also wanted to inform, I wasn't sure if the trustees had gotten the letter from our village manager. Thanks to the effort of staff and the trustees, the new Glenview Park came out to cost the village of Homer Glen $1. And that was for the efforts that the staff put into for applying for these grants. And also, we received a lot of help and guidance from former trustee Brian Burian. So I think that's just a great team effort there, and great use of funds. And I just want to say, I will really miss all you guys. You are such hard workers. I don't think anybody, I know clearly people don't understand the amount of hours and time that you all put into this, how hard this job really and truly is. And you really will be missed, and I'm sure we'll see the effects of that. So I wish you guys.
Thanks. Let's go with Ruben. Trustee Cassidy.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a report, but I would like to say something. I would like to express my utmost appreciation to Trustee Suisse, Trustee Backwell, Trustee Gray, and Trustee Caprio for their years of service and dedication to our community. Thank you for all of your hard work, as it will never be forgotten. I'm sure you will remain proud and active members of our beautiful community, and I look forward to your continued commitment to the betterment of our Homer Glen. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Caprio.
All I can say is thank you. Met a lot of great people along the way. I feel honored to have served. A full elected term, a year appointed term. And, we did a lot of great things, and I stand by every decision that we ever made. So thank you all. Thank you to the residents, and continued success.
Thank you. Trustee Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to, I don't have a report on the committee, but I would like to express my thanks as well. Like you all, I first want to start by thanking the residents for the great opportunity to serve. It has been an incredible 4 years. I'd like to thank you, Mayor, and all of my colleagues on the board, including those who have left us already. I've learned a lot over the last 4 years. Learned a lot, grown a lot, and I really appreciate it. I've made a lot of good friends here. Really importantly, and I'm sure that everybody wants to thank these same people as our families, our wives, our husbands, our significant others. We give up a lot of time, we miss a lot of things, including you, Mary. You go to a million different meetings. So I'd like to thank all of our family members too for their understanding and consideration. It does take a lot to do this job, and they knew what we were getting into, but I think sometimes it's still even made everybody kind of look at us sideways because of what we did. I'd like to thank all the new friends I've made. Like I said, it's been an incredible journey. Thank you primarily to staff too. Taught us all a lot over the years about all your different disciplines, all your different professionalism. We've been well served, and we will continue to be well served by all the staff in this village. And like you said, Mayor, and Trustee Pasmino said about being proud, I too am proud of all of our accomplishments. We've really done a lot, and I remain proud to be a resident of Homer Glen. So you had said that you'll miss us, and I'll miss all of you guys as well, but Trustee Rogers had mentioned former Trustee Bury and being behind the scenes and helping out. And I hope to continue in some support, some way, working to better the village. This village is where we all live. We have a vested interest here, so it is in our best interest to stay involved. So thank you all.
Thank you. Trustee Backwell.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have an update on public safety. You stole a little bit of my thunder, but that's okay. Homer Tree was out today surveying the properties for access along the Long Run Creek. They're going to be putting down access padding, and 3 additional homeowners have allowed permission to cross the creek and utilize their property, and they should be out there within the next 2 weeks, which is what the mayor spoke about earlier. And I would like to publicly invite all of the new trustees. I would ask them to please attend, if possible, next Wednesday for the public safety meeting. I think it's important for our village that the new trustees are brought up to speed on Long Run Creek and I'd be happy to field any questions that they have regarding any of the public safety issues at next Wednesday's meeting. And then finally, Mayor Yukich, honorable trustees, Madam Clerk, thank you all for your help and your support. And to our staff, the staff is the best in the business. You're my family. You all treated me with more than just respect. Your conviction to our residents of Homer Glen is a point of pride that is not something that the public gets to see. What you do behind the scenes is a mission of love, one that transcends the day in and day out work that most don't get a chance to see. But it's there for all who appreciate it. Thank you all. To the residents of Homer Glen, it's been my honor and my privilege to work for all of you. My 6 years of dedication to you has been one of great joy and pride. I'm sorry. To my beautiful wife, Lisa. My son, Austin, his new bride-to-be, Rihanna, my grandson, Grant, my other son, Bryce. Thank you for all of your understanding, your patience, and your sacrifice to allow me to fulfill my obligation to our village. To the new trustees, I wish you well, and I wish the residents, I wish you well, and may the residents treat you with the respect that you deserve. Thank you.
Okay, Joe, is there anything on public comment? Oh, wait,
Always the forgotten one.
Village clerk.
Just a couple of things. The Pop Tab Challenge is going really well. I'd like to think that we're winning, but I'm really not sure. Rumor has it New Lenox is really taking this seriously and running around, like I said, on Fox. They are buying Pop Tabs online, which is totally cheating in my book, but I'd like to think that we're doing good by all the residents turning them in. You can still turn them into Ruby Agave, Tavern in the Glen, and Pelican Ears. So if you have any at home, bring them to those local restaurants, or you can also bring them here to the Village Hall. It is that time again to go over the executive session minutes. I just want to give a quick update. Mayor, you had mentioned transparency earlier, so I do want to take the moment just to say, since 2001, there has been roughly 222 executive session meetings. And I say roughly because obviously I wasn't here back in 2020 or 2001. So I don't know if all the meetings have been documented or not, but this current board in the last 2 years should be very proud. We had released 114 of the 222 executive session meetings, and that is something to be proud of. And then the last thing I wanted to say was, I just wanted to thank Brock, Keith, Sharon, and Carlo for their hard work and their dedication to the village. You will be missed, definitely. I also would like to wish the trustee-elects, Rosie, Jennifer, Dan, and Nikki, your success will be our success and the village's success. So I truly wish you all the best of luck and look forward to working with each of you. That's all.
Christine, I have a few questions for you about the executive sessions.
Can you is your mic on? I'm sorry.
How many executive session meetings were there during the previous board's terms?
The previous, from 2015 to 2019, there were 51 executive session meetings.
And how many were approved during that term?
During the 4-year term of my predecessor, there was 13 of the 51 approved.
Only 13 out of 51 that were approved. All right. How many have been released?
Of that current term, I'm unsure, but I know from 2001 to 2000, before I took over, there was 15.
Okay. And then this current board, we approve them, how many of the previous boards have they approved executive minutes?
Oh, approved? So out of the 51, this current board approved, so the previous board, there was the 51 meetings. That clerk, I believe, approved 13, I think I said. And then there was 34 that this current board approved of the previous board's minutes. So what happened was the previous clerk had all the minutes typed but never had them approved. So we had to turn those minutes over to this board to get them approved.
Right, and how caught up are we?
Tonight, I didn't see it on the agenda, but I do see an executive session that we are going to discuss executive session minutes, which I'm assuming that after we would come out and then make a motion to either approve, deny, or release these minutes. If all of these were to be approved, we would be short one meeting, which would be the March 10th meeting.
So our last meeting then.
Yeah, so then everything would be up to date. Yes.
Well, we should be proud of what we did get done. It's definitely much better than I expected, because I kind of got used to the meetings being kind of put off.
Yeah, I mean, in 2 years, releasing 114 sets of executive session, it's something definitely to be proud of. It truly is. It was a lot for you guys to do. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you. Does any of the trustees have any questions for the
I feel like I'm being...
clerk right now? Because this is the last meeting to...
Yeah, thank you for your cleanup of the entire process.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah, I agree. The cleanup was, I know what you went through, because we all heard about it.
I think this goes to the transparency.
Well, it does. We're trying to make sure that everyone does know exactly what we do and why we did what we did. So, Barb, thank you for the report, and thank you for the hard work that you put into it. And I know the hours, because there's a couple of you that every time I come in here late at night, you guys are here. So it's nice to see that there is that devotion there. Next would be village attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually do have a couple comments. First, a question to the clerk. I have a couple bags of Pop Tabs,
Yes.
but you know what New Ice is paying for those?
Oh,
I will have those at the next meeting for you.
thank you.
The other thing, I wanted, the mayor mentioned a little bit about the transfer from the highway commissioner. I just wanted to kind of give an overview to the public. We talked about this during the executive session because it was ongoing litigation. It still is, but there's some things that I want to share that we can share with the public in terms of the timeline and kind of what's going on. First, just as all of you are aware, for months we have been talking about this transfer. We had done public hearings, we had talked about public meetings, talking about how this would work, talking about this transfer of stewardship from the highway commissioner over to the village. We were set to go, we adopted the resolution to do that, and then, as you're aware, the township filed a challenge. So they went to court, and the township, basically the challenge was asking the court to declare it was unlawful for the highway commissioner to transfer the property and transfer any equipment to the village. In early April, after not a lot of time, but in terms of going through the court process, in early April, we were successful. The judge ruled in favor of the village and declared, in fact, that the transfer was lawful. There was nothing inappropriate about it. It is what it is, and it's something that can be done under the law. So we were successful. The mayor mentioned the transfer itself taking place on the 18th and then being recorded on the 19th. What had happened during that period was the township actually asked the trial court, who made that decision, went to the judge first and asked for a stay, asking to prevent us from doing it. Even though they lost on the claims, they were asking the court to stay while it was being appealed. The court denied that. So the township went to the appellate court after they filed their appeal and asked the appellate court to stop us from doing the transfer. And the appellate court denied the request too. So that's where we're at now. We won in court. We made the transfer, we moved forward. The township does have an appeal pending, so we'll just see where that goes. But I feel very confident that it's going to be upheld on appeal, that the appellate court will also find that it was a lawful transfer of property. So I want to make sure we get that out to everyone so you understand what was going on. And my last item is the 4 trustees that are with me. It has been a pleasure working with all of you. I've truly enjoyed it, and you'll be missed. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next would be public safety officials.
Yes, sir, just real quick. I just want to thank the outgoing trustees. It's been an honor and a pleasure serving with each and every one of you. And I just want to thank you for everything you have done to help us keep this community safe and keep it the wonderful community that it is. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you. It's been an honor. That's my report.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Our interim village manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would just like to echo a lot of what's been said tonight on behalf of staff. Thank you to the 4 outgoing trustees for all of your service and continued support of staff over the years that you've been on the village board. We really appreciate that, and you will be missed. And best of luck in your future endeavors. And we hope to see you around.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure.
All right, next is, do we have, you want to second? Thank you. First would be Elise Sarna. Lee, you out there? You want, you're on the public comment, you want to come forward?
No.
Okay. Okay, Mitch Atkinson? If you could give us your, we already got your address, we would.
Hi, I'm Mitch Atkinson. I live behind Home Depot. And good evening, board members and mayor and residents. I am a concerned citizen, and I think the rest of the board members in this community should be as well. I was quite distraught on Saturday morning because of the night court gas work being done. And I don't know how many people, but I know your village clerk, the girl I spoke to on Monday and also on Tuesday, and Matt Walsh as of today and yesterday, we're not apprised of this situation going on with night court. I may be speaking out of context here, but as far as I know, no one from this village knew in depth about what was going on at night court gas. Supposedly there was work being done on 151st by the creamery, but blowing out, as I understand it, as of the resolution of today and yesterday, to blow out a gas line. I was overwhelmed by the gas at my residence. I felt that there was a leak in my house. I called my neighbors. My neighbors didn't answer, so I got up, went out of the house, checked around my property, and went to my neighbors. They weren't home. I left there, told my wife to keep the door shut. I'm going to call 911 when I get up to Meyer. I got up to Meyer. I'm trying to keep this brief because it's quite a story, but I don't know how many other people felt it. But the lady from the village expressed major concern as of yesterday when I talked to her. She smelled it. She was a resident of this community as well. It was overwhelming, very powerful. And when I went to Meyer, I went inside. I was overtaken by the fumes in the store. I started to get a headache. I walked out to the front of the store. I summoned the manager from Meyer. I said, I'd like to talk to you. I said, I think there's a gas leak. I didn't know anything about the work being done on 51st. He came to the front of the store. As soon as he walked out of the store, he was overwhelmed with the smell. He goes, oh my God. I said, can you please call 911, because I'm going to do it if you don't. He called and said the fire department just left there. He said he's going to take a call. As I'm leaving to walk to my car as a concern, I got my phone out and called my mom, who is a senior resident, right behind that gas leak. You should all know that, because you guys issue the leases for that complex. My mother is one of them. Pam Meyer's father is another. My mother smelled it. I told her, get the hell out of the house. This is a problem. I said, I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna find out. Went back to my neighbors, they came out, I said, listen, don't go out, stay in the house, I'm gonna make another phone call to the police department and fire department. 911 called, they said, the village is, we're aware of the situation, we'll call you back, or we'll contact someone from the village. I said, well, that's not good enough. I called Steve Balch. Don't care about the party affiliation, any of the relations in politics.
Sorry, sir, you have 30 seconds. I know it's a delicate story, I just want to remind you of 30 seconds.
I know that. So with that said, I managed to get a response from Mr. Balch and some of the other residents in the area. They were on top of the situation. I was saddened to find out that the village didn't know about it. I don't know what the legalities are of NICOR and the responsibility, but I think they were dropped. Because I don't know if it's part per million. I'm a little ignorant about the law with ComEd and what their ratio is for that gas issue they were dealing with. But I'm telling you, as residents, it was felt and smelled as far as New Lenox. And I got documented witnesses for that. I don't know who else smelled it or felt it in our community, but it was terrible. Can any of you vouch for that?
Can hear it.
Okay.
That was bad.
Please look into it further. Matt knows my story. I think that as a community, as public safety, and the present board and the future board, we should have some type of emergency in place for our residents. Not just public safety, but if this ever happens, NICOR should say, hey, we're going to do some work. If we have an issue, call. That man admired my parent, my mother, and my children, and my wife. We were really concerned about a gas problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Beth Burton?
My name is Elizabeth Swanson Burden, and I've been a resident of Homer Township in the village of Homer Glen for 29 years. I would like to thank Trustee Sways, Gray, Caprio, and Backel for their service to our community. As a resident, I had the opportunity to work with several of you during the incorporation efforts or serve on the early committees that were formed after our founding in 2001. I have followed each of you at every level of your service to this community, always confident that you would serve as a community member for our community members with their best interests in mind. As a member of the Plan Commission, I would like to thank you for always being prepared for the agenda items that we send forward to you. You each attended our Plan Commission meetings to hear the cases that were coming before you, reviewed your packets, and always asked questions of staff in preparation for your board meetings. I saw you treat fellow Plan Commission members, petitioners, and public commenters with respect and dignity during some difficult cases. As citizen planners, you followed the standards of review and made your decisions based on those items within the scope of our ordinances, even when it might not be popular to do so. Outside of your duties here, I've had the privilege to talk to you about our love for the environment, this community, and to sit with you in the stands as our children played sports and attended school together. Thank you for your service to our community, and may God bless each of you. Thank you.
Kathy and David Boone?
Hi, I'm Kathy Boo. Husband's sitting. He decided that I could talk, as you all know I can do. I live at 15850 West Shady Lane, have the corner at 159th and Galver. I am here to thank the board members that are going out, well, all of you, but the board members that are going out, for having the foresight, if that's the right word, to get the sewer route put in along the Fitterman Creek. To, after 5 years, 3 different buyers, and I know you took a lot of heat from a lot of residents about approving a gas station on the corner of 159th and Galver. I am very appreciative for all you have done. Keith, Carlo, Barack, we have had phone conversations, we have talked in person. Barack, you were on the Planning Commission and then on the board when it was approved. I cannot thank you guys enough for having the vision to see what is needed there on that corner. And I look forward to working with the existing members that are still on the board and the new members with the remaining 38 acres that we still own there on 159th and Gauger. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I don't know what's going to be coming down the plank, but only time will tell and God. So I'm just here to tell you all thank you for all you did, and I know you took a lot of grief. So thank you for that. And good luck in your endeavors.
Thanks, Betty. Next, Jennifer Consolino.
Good evening. I would like to reiterate tonight what I expressed at the April 14th Village Board meeting in rebuttal to what was discussed. Considering all the enhancements on the Heritage Park Master Plan, cul-de-sac road is the least resident-friendly and least environmentally friendly. It is not a necessity at this time. This meeting tonight is the last lame duck board meeting for our outgoing trustees, and I wish them well. But there is a call for a vote to approve yet another contract with TRIA for $53,850 to manage the $1.2 million cul-de-sac road project. I'm in disagreement with this item still. To date, the village has spent nearly $8 million with a projected $23 million total for future completion. We have seen gross mistakes in construction that have created flooding in what was previously a perfectly functioning golf course that did not flood. We have seen mismanagement of the active core, which had certain sections fail to pass inspection. We permitted a firm that had 0 accreditations to design a major municipal park and build the village for approximately $1 million over the last 4 years. Decisions for Heritage Park have been repeatedly taken from the Parks and Recreation Committee and placed in the hands of a close team of staff, elected officials, and a vendor. In regards to the current board's argument at the last meeting regarding safety and accessibility, if anyone is injured on the west side of the sled hill, the new cul-de-sac road on the east side is useless for safety reasons. The bike path was specifically designed to be wide enough to support cars, vans, or trucks. If there is an injury anywhere on the sled hill, the emergency vehicles can utilize the bike path to get to the location of the accident. As for parking, we have additional parking just west of the park, Stallions parking. And we also have 2 other parking lots in the proposed Heritage Park Master Plan. There's no need to pour more asphalt in the middle of our beautiful park that is adjacent to a prairie land nature preserve. Another consideration is environmental. The village received a 319 grant from the Illinois EPA for $245,000 and $228 in 2018 to preserve a section of the park, the northeast section, for designation as an area for natural water runoff and preservation of Illinois prairie land. The proposed cul-de-sac road will be constructed adjacent to this 319 grant area. I'm quite certain that this lame duck board will approve the proposal from TRIA to manage the cul-de-sac project, just as they did agree to the cul-de-sac project 2 weeks ago. However, I'm still here to speak on behalf of my voters and request that this lame duck board again take the time to reconsider taking this action and continued unnecessary spending. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I'd like to respond to the comments that were just made.
How about we wait till we get the last one done and then we can...
Okay.
All right. John Walters?
Hi guys, thank you for everything you've done. Sharon, I did take your suggestion and asked to be on the committee.
John, if you could just raise the microphone.
Okay.
Thank you.
I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but my brother-in-law sent in an email and was hoping it would be ready at a medical procedure and he couldn't be here. And I was informed it wouldn't be read, so I was going to read it for him. My name is Mark Gower and I live at 14900 Glencrest Lane. I lived in Homer Township for 34 years, 20 years in Homer Glen, 2.5 years of the service on 2 village committees. I love every hour of service to the village. I'm also active on social media. I speak out against actions and policies I do not generally policies that are not in the general interest of the people in Homer Glen. Regarding Heritage Park, first I want to set the record straight. I love the park. I walk the bike path multiple times a week. I love the master plan developed 5 years ago. It was ingenious. And what has drove me to become a member of the Parks and Rec Committee. This is where I witnessed things that were terribly disappointing. I joined the Park and Recs Committee to make a real difference in the future of the park. But boy, was I wrong. All the key decisions were taken away from the Park and Recs Committee shortly after I joined in 2018. A close team of staff, elected officials, and an architectural firm named TRIA drove all the key decisions. The Park and Recs Committee was kept on the sidelines. The master plan for Heritage Park contains dozens of improvements for the park, but they were never voted on a priority of these items. There was never an outreach to residents to let them decide which amenities should come next. 2 weeks ago, with 4 trustees on their way out, they passed what can only be described as the least resident-friendly improvement, the road on the east side of the sled hill, which is over our beautiful park green space. This lame duck board passed over the following family-friendly community-inspired improvements: a toddler nature playground, a family picnic area, a splash pad water feature, a veterans memorial, an open play area with 2 soccer fields and a baseball field, a village green, an outdoor natural amphitheater, no stage, a fishing pier. As a resident, I think that any of the above amenities would be prioritized over a $1.2 million road and the annual maintenance of this road.
30 seconds.
Residents need improvements that will allow them to have fun again, especially after what we've endured during the COVID pandemic. I ask you to please reverse the vote on the $1.2 million cul-de-sac road. I ask you please defer the vote on accepting TRIA's $58,000 proposal to manage the cul-de-sac road project, and it should never have been passed 2 weeks ago. The exiting 4 trustees, please leave graciously. Use this time for transition, our accountabilities, and our new incoming trustees. Do not commit the village to any more expensive projects during this lame duck session. Thank you, Mark Howard. Thank you, guys. And thank you, outgoing trustee. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Brock. Thank you, Carlo. Thank you, Keith.
Okay, Brock, do you want to?
I would just like to address some of the comments that were just made recently. Some of these non-truths about in regards to the Woodbine Golf Course not flooding. Woodbine Golf Course has been a flooding issue since the day I moved in 1994. 1996, there was 6 feet of water on Eagle Ridge Drive. I live right here. There was 6 feet of water on Eagle Ridge Drive, and they were driving jet skis down Eagle Ridge Drive. My neighbor, Robert Bennett, the water was pouring in through his walls into his basement. The water was 5 inches from his garage. To suggest that Woodbine Golf Course doesn't flood and didn't flood, it's a falsehood. I've been fighting for flood help since 1996. And when Heritage Park was designed, I was in every single meeting because the photos that they were showing to H&R Green were of my house and of Eagle Ridge Drive. So they were asking me, the engineers from H&R Green met with me, met with Robert Bennett. Robert Bennett did a tremendous service for our community, helping Russ Petruzzo, helping Mayor Yukich, helping the engineers to help with the flooding. Spoke directly with the engineers from H&R Green. If it wasn't for Heritage Park, that flooding would still be there. So to say that Heritage Park didn't help the flooding is a fool's game. A fool's game.
Do we have anything else?
I'm done.
I just had one question. You keep saying that this the ring road in Snow Hill is something that we don't need. I haven't heard it from anybody, except you. So, you know, these people that you're talking about, do they live here? I kind of disagree with that too, but no one wants it. Everyone I've talked to has nothing but positive about Heritage Park and what we do and what we have done and what we have not done. As for the auditorium or amphitheater, whatever you want to call it, we talked about it when a group came in and gave us ideas of what you could put on the property. That's all it was, is what you put, not you have to. So that was never an issue because, as you can see, it's not out there. The veterans thing, that's not out there right now because we have something over at Marion Village that they can use. And eventually, when we know we have enough money to do it without taking money that we shouldn't from the village, which we've never done in the first place, then we can talk about it. But the rest of the stuff is, a lot of it's nonsense. It's, show me some people that are unhappy with the park. Because all I see is residents that are happy with it. And people that are residents that come out from Orland Park, from Lockport, from New Lenox, and they come out to our park. So you gotta make sure the homework's done 100% before you bring something up. And I don't believe you can show me that it's done 100%. But we'll leave it at that for right now. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. Is there a motion to approve the following items? 1, the accounts payable for the period of April 16, 2021 to April 29, 2021 in the amount of $588,604.40. And the treasurer's reports of cash and investments for the period ending on March 31st, 2021. So is there a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
Trustee Merkel. Discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Bethel?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Gabriel?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmiel?
Aye.
Trustee Gray?
Thank you. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I believe there was one person who had signed in for public comment. If that wasn't,
We're not on the sheet.
At the bottom.
John.
Second page.
Oh,
Bottom of the first
Dave
page,
Buckley.
Mayor. Dave Buckley, hi, how you guys doing? I'd like to echo a lot of things that already been said tonight. Mayor and Trustee Brock, really appreciate everything. I'd like to talk about, I spoke 2 weeks ago about Long Run Creek. We sort of have two issues here still. And I just want to kind of keep this going because what I'm kind of hearing is that some folks who's worried about spending may not fully understand, Mayor, like you just said, you haven't really done your homework about what's actually going on. There's been some allocation of funding to restore some of these areas, and now there's questions as to why, work's being done on private property. That's not private property. It's a very significant, critical wetland part of our community. It's in the 319 plan, which is our vehicle for funding for things in the park. We just talked about the 319 grant. I don't think anybody in this room knows what that is. I do. And if we're going to move forward with being stewards of our environment and talk about how we're going to uphold the 319 grant, let's get a little bit educated on it first before we start talking about taking funding away. The other issue I have too, this has been going on for 10 years. These people burn the property. They burn over 60 acres back there. So they burn this wetland, this habitat, it's destroyed. They burn it every year. I don't think, and we all know this keeps happening, why hasn't anything been done? Now, when we talk to Home Fire, okay, we don't have the picture of the guy lighting the match. Well, this has been going on for 10 years, so talk about funding that we're wasting. Homer Township Fire Department has to go out and put it out every year. And they know they do. They get ready for it. Happens every Easter weekend. So we're just going to keep paying for that? That's a line item on everybody's in this room, their taxpayers, their bill. It's all on your bills. So we're wasting money there, but we don't want to put money into restoring this natural area? That seems foolish. The second issue I have too is the floodplains and the flood damage back there and the floodway violations. Now, you guys tell me, oh, it's in Cook County, we can't do anything about it. Well, is that like it's not my backyard? That's, you know, you see something, you do something. You knew about it, it was going on, nothing happened. Unless I got involved, we would have no movement on this case whatsoever. So I'm very disappointed in Development Services for not stepping up to the plate and talking to people about getting this done. Trustee Rogers, you mentioned contact your Will County representatives. I did, numerous times. Nobody responded to me. Nobody. So, you know, I don't understand why you folks all in the same room, the 4 trustees, and everybody coming in knew why we can't all get along and work together. We're talking about funding where
30 seconds.
Funding was already allocated towards this park. It's been vetted. It's been through resident meetings, and it's been going on since 2016. The money's already allocated. What are we talking about here? So I just wish people would get a little more educated on what they're actually talking about before we actually jump to a conclusion. That's exactly what Mayor just said. So, you know, I urge you, let's all get together in a public safety meeting, and maybe I can educate you on what's going on back there. Thanks.
Okay, next will be legislation and action items. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-019, an ordinance approving one, a special use permit for a major amendment to the Goodings Grove Land Unit Development, PUD, with the following exceptions. A, to increase the maximum height of the monument sign from 10 feet to 15 feet. Foot 6 feet to 15. Foot 6 inches to reduce the required landscape from yard to 30 feet from 12 feet. To increase the base of the monument sign from a maximum 4 feet to 5. And to allow a wall sign in the building elevation adjacent to a residentially zoned property. Pursuant to 220-903, compliance and amendments to Chapter 220 zoning of the Code of the Village of Homer Glen, special use permits for an outdoor seating area associated with a permitted restaurant, with an exception to allow a reduction in the amount of fencing where outdoor seating areas are required to be fully enclosed, and a drive-through establishment, a site plan, and a variance from the exterior. Construction standards of 75-67F of the Code of the Village of Homer Glen to permit combination of masonry and EIFS with accents of deep check wood in the design of the first floor elevation of a commercial building for real certain property generally located in the C3 General Business District on Lot 11 of the Goodings Grove PUD, Homer Glen, Illinois, subject to the following conditions. The plantings in the area identified in yellow on sheet L01 be installed within 6 months of substantial completion of the county 143rd Street roadway improvement project, and increase 3 more bollards on the east side of the seating area.
So moved.
Trustee Gray, Trustee Gabriel. Any discussion? Mr. Mayor?
The project manager is here. Any questions?
Mayor, I'd just like to point out that I reached out to Director Gotti with a few questions. One was about, if you remember a couple years ago when we looked at doing the square of Goodings Grove, we were informed then that there was some sort of owners association within that PUD, and that they had some pushback at the time about the small parcel that was going to remain commercial, and that they wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be certain types of fast food, I believe, was the most sensitive one. So I reached out to Director Gowdy and asked him just to make sure that, that was taken into consideration. He said that they had reached out to the Owners Association and there was no comment back from them. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
And the only other thing is that, looking over there, there's several variances here. A few of them I didn't realize, but going east on 143rd, there is quite a drop off of the property. There's one of these attachments shows the elevation, and there is a pretty substantial drop off from the intersection of 143rd as you go east. So that sign is a bit hard to see. That's why they're asking for the increase in the height. I had asked some questions about that as well, but after driving several times over the last couple of days and from each direction, I see why that does make sense. And the other one about the variance about wall sign facing a residence. It's an odd residence there, given that it's kind of still in the middle of a commercial corridor, and it's already impacted basically by the Silver Cross Hospital establishment on the south side of the street, I believe, has a wall sign pointing at it, as well as White Castle to the east has one on its west-facing wall facing that property as well. So while I see that this list is pretty long, it does seem like most of these are warranted and or answering a hardship of sorts. So I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mayor, I'm going to choose to abstain from this vote. I own property within the ring road of the Goodings Grove, and I just don't want there to be any type of conflict or issues.
Thank you, trustee. Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Sweet. Aye. Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Guzmino.
Aye.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
And Trustee Battle.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to staff and the village. It's been great working with you guys so far, and I know Matt, who's the franchisee, couldn't be here tonight, but he's very excited to get started on the project, so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Next, is there a motion to approve the amended mayor and village board standard operating procedure number 002?
I so moved.
Trustee Sweet,
Second.
trustee Rogers. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sweet. Aye. Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Guzmino.
Aye.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Trustee Battle.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, is there a motion to recommend approval of the finance director's recommendation to initiate the proposed general fund transfer equal to general fund surplus fiscal year 2021 on April 30th of 2021 in accordance with the standard operating procedure number 2.
I so moved.
Trustee Reese,
I second.
trustee Rogers, discussion. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Guzmino.
Aye.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Trustee Battle.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
And Trustee Sweet.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-020, ordinance adopting the village of Glen's budget for fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2021 and ending April 30th, 2022. I so move. Trustee Caprio.
I'll second.
Trustee Berger. Discussion.
Thank you, Director Sawyers, for a great job.
Yeah, great job.
You're here.
Thank you.
It's always that way.
It's another surplus budget for the village, so that's we're keeping the streak alive.
Yes, we do. Thank you, John. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Guzmino.
Aye.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Trustee Battle.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Sweet.
Aye.
Trustee Caprio.
Aye. Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve addendum number 1, the construction engineering services for 2019 drainage improvement program in the not to exceed amount of $18,048?
So moved.
Trustee Gray,
I'll second.
trustee Berger.
Mayor, I'd just like to point out I had asked to table this at our last meeting, and we now have the draft minutes from A&M in there, and I thought that was important. I actually think Trustee Rogers and I both discussed it. We thought that was kind of important. We had a pretty good discussion about this item and the next one during A&F, where we had questioned some of the charges and why they took place and what we were doing to claw back where we could or offset where we could. So I think that I hope everybody had an opportunity to read those. They were pretty. They really go to why these two pieces are on here. So I just wanted to point that out, that the draft minutes are now in there.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or concerns? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Backel?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
No.
Trustee Suisse?
No.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Pesmino?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, is there a motion to approve addendum number 2 for the 151st Street widening project between Cedar Road and Bell Road in the amount of $25,897.84.
I so moved.
Trustee Suisse?
I'll second.
Trustee Caprio? Discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Backel?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
No.
Trustee Suisse?
No.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Pesmino?
Aye.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Homer Glen and Will County regarding certain improvements along Bell Road as part of the county's upcoming Bell Road improvement project from 159th Street to 151st Street? It is understood that the village will be responsible for the cost of these additional improvements, which include concrete sidewalks from Meadowview Lane to Woodland Drive, grass top medians, and upgraded landscaping in the amount of $158,251.50, and that the village will be responsible for the future maintenance of these facilities.
So moved. I'll second.
Trustee Rogers and Trustee Suisse, discussion?
Mayor, a couple of questions on this. Do we know, is this, like,
Yes.
are they proposing any guardrails along there? There's a pretty steep drop off at some points on that side.
I haven't checked the actual plans for the guardrails, but there's actually, the project isn't going all the way to 151st Street because some of that was already widened as part of the intersection project in the past. I'm sure that whatever guardrails are installed are going to be meeting IDOT requirements in the locations that are required.
Do you know, do they go by IDOT or WC?
Well, they'll ultimately, everybody pretty much goes by the standard specifications for road and bridge, which are IDOT standards.
Do the standards change when there is a pedestrian walkway on one side of it? You know, like, would something that's normally just a runoff for a car be considered something different if there's pedestrian, curves, which we don't?
Not as much. If you look at 159th Street, the locations for the guardrail are at the locations where ultimately there's going to be safety issues for the vehicles, more of drop-offs, any kind of creek crossings, deeper ditches, things of that nature. So.
Okay. And how about an extension further to the south? It looks like it's stopping at Meadowview on the south end. And I understand why not going to the north because of the wetlands and the incline. But to the south, it looks like it would make sense to take it all the way down to the shopping center.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we can certainly, down the road, look to do an extension. If you look, I mean, this goes back to 2014 when this originally came to the board and the original discussion started. It was decided that at that point was the best limits of the project were between the two roadways, but that is something down the road that we can certainly talk to the county and certainly extend that sidewalk any further.
Well, while I still have a voice for a couple of hours here, I'd like to put my support behind that because I think that makes sense. It does what we've been talking about for 4 years and beyond that, tying all of these trail systems together. And while it might be a little bit more of a lift to do it on the north end, on the south end, it seems like it's a small lift. And it ties into the 159th Street connector, and it also ties back then to the Heroes Trail, which comes up just west of Bell Road. So I would encourage you to continue to look into that and bring it to the future boards.
We certainly will.
As well as finding out what the north extension would take to do, because again, will tie into the ultimate widening of 151st Street,
correct,
which will also have a multi-use path. So again, tying those things all together. I would encourage you to continue on that, so.
And I tend to agree on the one point you just made. I think IDOT made a huge mistake on 159th, not putting a guardrail at 159th and South Bell Road, right in front of the Phoenix. Major flaw on there. It's deep. They're going to have a patio out there. I know that the owner has expressed his displeasure with that, and I totally agree with his displeasure, so we should get it ahead of the game rather than wait till after the game's over and then figure out that we need guardrails, because I think it's a huge flaw that they put in 159th and South Bell Road.
I do know at that location, IDOT has been contacted about that.
I was part of the root of the cause of that. Thank you.
I have a quick question. On Bell, you said between 151st and 159th, why are they doing meetings just in that section?
That's just
kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's you know, that's their design. I know they were kind of following IDOT standards as far as the medians, and it was decided, I know by IDOT, that it was more of a safety issue because when you're crossing traffic, you're only crossing one directional traffic versus directions of traffic. They are obviously making median breaks at both of the residential roadways, as well as the Mega Plants facility will have a full access as well too.
What are they going to do with the wetlands?
I mean, they're, as far as...
Because it says there's existing wetlands.
Yeah, I mean, they're...
Usually to the east there.
Yeah, they're not going to be impacting those. Any impacts during the construction, most likely they would either be mitigating or purchasing wetland banking.
Any other questions or concerns? I agree with Trustee Suisse of putting the median down the center. I think that's the biggest mistake, and I can, just from what I do for a living, you're not giving anyone a place to go. So you either drive up the median, or it's nowhere for them to go. It's happened on 159th already, where they've had accidents and everyone gets stuck behind it. I am definitely a fan of the length of how the meetings are right now. It didn't make any sense to me then, it still doesn't make any sense to me now, and now they want to go ahead and do it on Bell Road. But it's their road, so. Radler, call the roll.
Trustee Pezino.
Aye.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Trustee Backel.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Caprio.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, is there a motion to approve the proposal from Tree Architect for construction observation for the Heritage Park cul-de-sac project in the amount of $53,850?
I so move.
Trustee Backel. Second. All right, Trustee Gray. I wasn't sure if you both said it, so. Discussion.
Mayor, I'd like to point out that to what Trustee Backel said earlier, a couple things about some of this. We did approve this project last 2 weeks ago, and it would be remiss if obviously we didn't put some oversight into it as well. Tria was the one who designed this and is most familiar with it. That's why you go with them. In 2017, I believe it was, when the ring road was done. HR Green was hired to do the oversight because they were the ones who ultimately planned it and platted it. So this does make sense to continue on with Tria as the oversight. As far as the least resident friendly, I would take issue with that as well. Well, to what Trustee Rogers said a couple weeks ago, these are not the sexy projects, but these are the ones that get you there. The parking, the reason that everybody loves, including in Mr. Galvin's letter, that he loves Heritage Park, he's there every day, is because it's accessible. It's because you can drive here, you can park here, you can get out of your car, you're in it. That's what this does. This continues on with that, as we said 2 weeks ago. As far as those other things that are maybe considered more resident friendly, we are leaving $6 million in the fund that we have Remington saved over the last years and put together for improvements in this park. We've gotten a lot of pushback about several of those. None of those are being done. We don't expect you to pick up that time and run with it, but we have left you a considerable amount of money to do what you want to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comments or concerns?
Well, and don't forget, we have the, what was it, $750,000 grant to be used for this road.
Correct. It's going to run us a little over 400,000, and that is if they don't, because they always come in under budget. So.
Yeah, and I do, I find it interesting that the 1.2 continues to be thrown around, and that's just so misguided. There's a reason why the grants are out there. There's a reason why people apply for them. We're successful in getting them, so it makes, fiscal sense to move forward with the project and have the original architect oversee.
I didn't know we had a park in this town. I'm just.
All right, is there any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Trustee Bapple.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse. Aye. Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Pazino.
Nay.
Mayor, would you like to vote on this one?
Yes.
What would you like to vote?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put you down.
Next, is there a motion to approve a special event permit for a disc golf tournament at Heritage Park on May 29th and 30th, 2021? I so move. Trustee Caprio.
I'll second it.
Trustee Grasso. Any discussion?
This was discussed at the Parks Committee, and, it's basically a mirror of what they did last year. Similar, same event, open to the public. The committee's concern was cleanup, who would be in charge of cleanup. I've discussed that with Matt Walsh, and he has assured me that he'll have facilities working that weekend to do it. It was mentioned to have tournament people empty the garbage cans, but I think everybody on the committee agreed that's not something that we do or ask for, and ask if there's liability issues there. It was a very popular event last year, and I think it's good exposure for Heritage Park.
And it's also good exposure for other businesses.
And the sport itself. I know, I got a lot of grief over pickleball. I'm just going to keep reminding you guys, what's pickleball? What's pickleball? Well, it's pretty much the most popular thing out there, I think. So, yeah, I believe disc golf is going to be right behind it once people are aware that it's up and running.
I have a question, Mayor. Is the entire park going to be closed during this event, or certain areas going to be open?
It's a thing like the last year, so it's
okay.
Mayor, I'd like to, make a comment. I was hoping Mr. Batcher would be here tonight so that he could hear this, but hopefully staff will get this to him. The cul-de-sac road can potentially commence the first week of May. So they could be out there putting up construction fencing. Julie would be out there marking for underground utilities and things of that nature. And while I'm in support of having the disc golf tournament, I think they just need to be made aware of the fact that they could be somewhat impacted by those things, and they are not, to go up and pull out any Julie flags or the silk fencing if that's in place or any of those things. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get around it if need be. Maybe playing one hole twice, and if they can't access one of their holes, I'm sure they've encountered these things before. Where they're an open play outdoor type thing, so I'm sure they have plenty of ways of dealing with adversity. So I just want to make sure that they understand that. So.
Yeah, we will pass that on. The construction footprint shouldn't affect any of the holes, so the flow of the course should not be affected.
If they put any fencing up on top of the hill or around the utility building?
Correct, yeah, some of the hill work.
Still fencing and all the stuff like that, so.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Backo.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Pazino.
Aye.
And Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, is there a motion to appoint Beth Rogers as the chair of the Homer Community Festival Committee?
I
moved.
I'll second.
That's you first. Right. Trustee Gabriel and trustee Backel, discussion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse. Aye. Trustee Caprio.
Yep.
Trustee Pazmino.
Aye.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Trustee Backel.
Aye.
I can't top it, yep.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-021, an ordinance amending 83-68 of the code, decreasing the number of Class G liquor license by one, RDK Ventures LLC, DBA Circle K, 4706 714, 12810 West 143rd Street, Homer Glen, Illinois. So moved. Trustee Gray. Okay.
Give it to trustee Suisse.
Trustee Suisse.
Yes, seniority.
On the board.
On the board.
All right, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse. Aye. Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino.
Aye.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Trustee Backel.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? The next item is executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing executive session minutes, real estate purchase, potential of pending litigation, and personnel?
I'll second.
Trustee Rogers, trustee Backel. Right now, you want to take a 5 minutes? Sure. All right, we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll go back into the executive session.
Mayor, I think we have to do a roll call or an all in favor.
No, further. Go ahead, yes, roll call, please.
We did give a motion, is that correct?
Yes. Rogers and Beck.
You want to do roll call or you want to do all in favor?
Roll call, please.
Roll call. Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse. Aye. Trustee Backel.
Aye.
Trustee Caprio.
Aye.
Mayor Yurich.
I've got to be there. Like Carlos said, yep.
Yep.
Okay, 5-minute break before we go into executive session.